The weekend, I was in Missouri speaking and preaching with a focus on the proposed abortion amendment that was slated to be on the state ballot in November. Now, the ballot measure, Amendment 3, would not only constitutionalize abortion until birth, but would sever parental rights over sexual issues, including gender transitions, surgeries for minors, and possibly even dealing with sex education in the schools. I mean, it's really a far-reaching amendment. Well, on Friday night, as I was heading into our first event, where I actually had dinner with Rich Bott of Bott Radio Network, lots of Washington Watch listeners there in Missouri, also Senator Josh Hawley, Stephen Crowder, who was organizing this event, and Pastor Chris Williams, who I was with, a lot of great folks there. Well, anyway, as we were headed into that dinner, a judge ruled that the ballot measure was invalid, teeing up an expected final decision tomorrow by the Missouri Supreme Court. It got kicked to the appellate court, then all the way up to the Supreme Court of the state. But that's not the latest. There's a little bit more. And here now to give us an update on this fight for life and parental rights in Missouri is the Attorney General of the state of Missouri, Andrew Bailey. General Bailey, welcome back to Washington Watch. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me on.
So I understand there's another update that broke just today. Tell us about it.
Yeah, look, the trial court judge ruled that the proponents of this dangerous amendment to our state constitution failed in a blatant violation of the law to enumerate all of the sediment of law that has built up to protect life and protect women and children over the past 200 years of the history of the state of Missouri. And tomorrow morning at the Missouri Supreme Court, the court will hear oral argument on whether or not the trial court got it right, the correctness of the trial court judgment. And I'm here to tell you, at the Missouri Attorney General's office, we're going to march into the Supreme Court building tomorrow and argue that the Supreme Court should affirm the trial court order. The people of the state of Missouri are being sold a bill of goods, and it is a blatant violation of the law, as the judge identified, to fail to notify the people of the state of all of the statutory provisions that this dangerous amendment seeks to overturn.
So in Missouri, the law requires, as I understand it, and you would know, you're the Attorney General, but it's required that an amendment deals, number one, with a single issue, and it has to inform the voters on what laws are being usurped or what laws are being removed. And this is a very deceptively worded amendment that just says, it basically leaves the door wide open, saying that reproductive rights include such things as, but leaves a whole lot of other things unenumerated.
Yeah, that's precisely right. And the whole idea is to protect the voting public so they can understand what exactly policy positions are being adopted in this constitutional amendment, rather than leaving it vague and letting subsequent courts and subsequent generations and jurisdictions work through that. We need to know up front what we're voting for. And the people of the state of Missouri, again, have been lied to by the proponents of this dangerous amendment. The proponents of the amendment would tell you that it's merely restoring the framework that existed under Roe v. Wade. And that is a lie. That is absolutely not true. This will turn Missouri into the state of California, or worse, by getting the government out of any kind of safety control or regulation when it comes to the health of women and children. And certainly the General Assembly just recently enacted a ban on the gender mutilation of youth here in the state of Missouri. And that would overturn that statute and so many others. And so, again, it's a fairness due process issue that the voting public needs to have that clarity. And the proponents of this amendment have not done that.
So let me ask you a little bit about this, General Bailey, because I know you have been working and investigating actually what's been happening in these gender transition clinics where minors have been targeted. So you know this issue quite well. The way it's worded, very wide open in terms of reproductive freedoms. I talk about abortion. Abortion is just one element of reproductive freedom. This could include, as I read it, and it's open to court interpretation, so I think that this is a justifiable reading of it, that sex education could be included in this, that parents would not have a right, this would be in the Constitution, parents would not have a right to object to pornographic sex ed material or material that talks about homosexual behavior. I mean, there's so much that could be stuffed into this that it's wide open.
It is absolutely wide open, and it's dangerous, and it's a lie. And you're exactly right. Currently in the state of Missouri, Section 170.015 gives parents the right to object to any sexually explicit curriculum in their school. There's an opt-in and opt-out procedure. The General Assembly has set contours and guardrails around what can be introduced in the sex ed programs in schools, and the parents have a chance to object and say, well, my kid's not going to participate, needs to be excused from that portion of the class. This would undo that and eliminate a parent's right to object to sexually explicit content or other education in the public school system that might not be consistent with the parents' values or consistent with objective reality, for that matter.
Let's talk about the gender transition. I mean, this is something that you've been pursuing in the state, investigating. As you mentioned, the legislature, as a result, passed laws protecting minors. That could be simply erased with this amendment.
Yeah, that Senate Bill 49 was enacted in response to a clandestine and shadowy network of these clinics that were operating across the state of Missouri that were the growth of this industry was exponential, and the harms that the children were suffering were severe. And a whistleblower had come forward that prompted my investigation, which resulted in legislative action. Senate Bill 49 was passed, and we successfully defended it in the trial court level against constitutional attack. And this constitutional amendment would undo that and return us to a world where children could go to these mutilation clinics and forever change their bodies without parental consent, without fully understanding the danger of undergoing these kinds of procedures.
So give us the process. Tomorrow, the state Supreme Court is going to hear the oral arguments, but they have, as I understand, they have a very short window in which to rule because the ballots have to be printed and sent out.
That's right. Tomorrow's the deadline. So the argument and the decision have to come very quickly. This is a very rapidly developing and fluid situation, but I'll tell you, my legal team worked through the weekend and is ready to go into court to defend the trial court order and protect life and parental rights in the state of Missouri.
Your sense of where the state Supreme Court, now each state is different. Missouri, the judges there are appointed, they're not elected. What's the sense of the makeup of the state Supreme Court?
Well, our Republican governor, Governor Parson, has appointed 3 new judges to that court and replacing 3 Democrat appointees. So I'm cautiously optimistic. At the end of the day, because of the short timeline, one of the arguments to be made here is like the trial court heard the evidence and made a decision. If there's not enough information for the voting public, then if they want to get this initiative petition passed, they should come back and try to do it the right way next time. But why would we race through this and produce a bad result that's bad for the people of the state of Missouri?
That would forever be locked into the state constitution. You're right. Attorney General Andrew Bailey, always great to see you. Thanks so much for taking the time to join us. And once again, thanks for the great work you do there in Missouri.
Thank you, Tony. Appreciate you.